Hello, my name is John Sveck. Welcome to this All 24 video. Coach Waterman and I are joined today by Coach JP Asselin. Thanks for being with us, Coach.
Hey, pleasure's mine, man.
This is going to be a what would you call series. So Coach is going to talk us through a play. So I'll give you the floor, Coach.
All right, thanks, John. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about a cover two beater, a scissors concept, I think people will call it. And I'm gonna focus on beating cover two structures. So cover four, match, but anything that would have the middle of the field open type of coverages. So obviously I feel like maybe the first question you guys are gonna ask, but what if it's single free safety? I'm not going to really go in depth. I really want to go over the details of beating cover two with this. But just to give you an idea, if we have the free safety here in the middle of the field, we'll have our curl to the boundary with our back, or we'll have this basically run as if it's an over-under type of concept to the field to beat cover one or any type of single free safety. Now, before we get into beating cover two with this, one of the things that I wanted to show is at the bottom of the screen, you see the alignment of the receivers. And I think for high school coaches, sometimes that's something that they skip over a little bit too fast, making sure that their receivers understand where they need to cross the line of scrimmage and have a terminology for it. So I've used different terminology in the past. This would mean here, top of the numbers, 3 outside the hash, so 3 yards outside the hash, 5 yards from the tackle, top of the number, and +6 when there's a plus means outside the number. So this X or 1 weak receiver would split the number to the sideline. But I think it's very important that we understand where we need to cross the line of scrimmage so we can stretch the field horizontally the way we actually want to do it. So this concept here, we're going to have 2 receiver push the 2 free safety as wide and as deep as we can. And somehow in this variation, the first thing we introduce, too strong, would come to the middle of the field. You can see as well in my playbook, there would be like release notes on the receiver. So over here, you see RO, we mean he has to release outside a low jamming receiver, DB, excuse me. So if this Will wants to jam us, we need to release outside on him, obviously to keep opening up the middle of the field. We don't want to get pushed and squeezed inside and then have the middle of the field closed by us. So same thing here, you see BR, so that means best release. So obviously we have 2 strong coming behind us. Preferably I would want to release outside, but if it's some kind of bracket coverage where the Sam wants to line up outside and low on us, you have to push to the top. Your main job is to influence the strong free safety out of there. So again, number 2 here would release inside on a low half. So if that halfback is low, we want to release inside. If we go outside, we'll be too far out to come back in this window. Our quarterback read for this is the 2 free safety, and normally we try to somehow include the Mike and the Sam. So we're really reading that area, but focusing on those 2 free safety. When those 2 free safety start widening, you'll see on film in our next part video that this middle of the field becomes just like so easy to pick. Now this game is played a scissors concept on the strong free safety. You'll see example of the video where we could do that as well to the boundary. So basically in this case, if the free safety turn and runs with number 3 strong, deep and outside, we're gonna look to throw the ball in the middle of the field to 2 strong. If he jumps the post, we're gonna throw the ball to 3 strong inside, over top of the free, not outside of him where we could have a high half or high corner making the play on the ball, but just on top of that free. And then last thing on that is you can see there's an option here. So basically the angle of this route can change. And how we teach this is basically has one rule is really easy. No matter where this free goes, the free safety, he has to get inside of him. Because the quarterback is told he can never throw to 2 strong outside of this free safety. So his job is take the skinniest angle he can, but he needs to get across and inside this free. He knows that if he doesn't get there, he won't be the ball thrown to him. He's never getting the ball over here. He only can get the ball inside the free. And that's obviously sometimes like this free safety can contest the catch and come down and make a play, but you understand leverage. We catch the ball and this free safety makes a play right away. When we're inside of him, he's chasing the play. It's a normal tackle. If we throw the ball outside of this free and this free safety times it well, Now, this collision would be a lot different if this receiver is still outside of this receiver. We're running into each other, right, instead of away from the free. And obviously, we try, when we get this cover two, to not worry too much about the mic and the Sam like you would normally in an over-under. The advantage is that because this receiver takes this angle to climb up the field, we're actually catching the ball 18 yards to 22 yards down the field. So we want to have an idea where they are, but we're trying to push the ball over top of them. And often that's a big coaching point of making sure this receiver too strong. He sees the middle of the field open and he wants to get there right away. Hey, be patient, push your route to 12 yards, and then get to the middle of the field. Obviously, if ever we're in a situation where the Sam does somehow and the Mike squeeze those window, then we'll have our one strong sitting underneath. Any questions, guys?
Well, that's awesome explanation, Coach. I really appreciate sort of how you talked about the details of the spacing, because that's critical. And I love how you talked about the releases just to create the space. And as I'm watching this looking at that too strong route, really love the detail in terms of when he comes across to that open field window, making sure he's on that right angle, and so that he's going to give himself an advantage there. So there's some really, really neat coaching points here, Coach. Coach Feck, you see anything here you want to talk about?
Yeah, my mind goes here, and it's just, I really enjoyed hearing that explanation, Coach. It's phenomenal. And when you have a full field concept like this, how do you introduce this to your guys? I mean, are you explaining it all at once? Are you breaking it down? Because it's so conceptual and everyone's working together so much. So how do you go about installing a play like this, Coach?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And you'll see, like, in the next part where we show different variation of this, it's always by rules. So the two most inside receivers are going to always take care of the two free safeties. Then if we're playing this scissors game to the field, the next receiver to the field is going to be responsible to get to the middle of the field. If we have another receiver, he's going to be that check down. So to the play call. If we have another receivers to the back side of the play call, so the play call over here would be to the field. If we have a receiver again to the back side of the play, he would run a hook. Again, if we would have another receivers to the back side of the play, he would be running a check down. So they have rules in terms of building the play from the inside out. So an easy variation that you'll see is that we'll run this play out of 4-1. So all what we're doing is taking this 2-weak receiver, bringing him to the field in a 4-1 set, but he has the same rule. He has to influence the weak side free safety. So he's going to be now on a diagonal, but same concept. So we play with that, and same thing where we flip this whole thing and we run it from the boundary to attack the weak free safety. Same rule applied, just the call side is now the boundary.
One more thought as a defensive coach, just thinking, because you laid it out so nicely, but we have to defend it some way, shape, or form. Do you find this is a play that you need a lot of time and protection for things to clear?
So as soon as you said that, is like pressure is definitely what will take this play away. And you'll see a couple clips in the next version where a quarterback do a great job holding onto the ball, just like that other hitch, move in the pocket a little bit, buy some time to be able to throw it to a wide open receiver. But if the pressure get there, then that's when you can get in trouble. And we actually played with our drops over here where we took like a normal 3-step from gun at times. We found that the quarterback felt like he was holding on to the ball. So you'll see clips with Jesse Mills where we literally took a 5-step from the gun. So the equivalent of 7-step from under, and almost take outside of the U-shaped pocket, but just get away from people to buy more time a little bit. And now with 5-step from the gun, we felt like one gather step after one hitch, and we could throw on time. Instead of going like 3, then having to hitch maybe 2, maybe sometimes 3 times, and the quarterback doesn't feel like on rhythm.
Yeah. And Coach, can you talk a little bit about the quarterback's eyes and progression, how you would teach him through this type of play?
Yeah, 100%. So there's we've built in a lot of options here for a quarterback. So obviously it's a play that you want to invest a lot in. So the first thing is is this a single free safety coverage or a cover 2 type of structure, or a middle of the field close or open, whatever the terminology you use. But basically that's the first part. So if we have a single free safety, the free safety stays close to this hash. Then based, to be honest, a little bit on pre-snap read, if we feel like this is a soft cushion to the boundary and the free staying here, we might just work our 1 week to the boundary. At times that week half could be a problem, right? We have nothing to really high-low him. We'll have to come back to our check down. or we're playing this, like I mentioned, to an over-under, where now the Mike and the Sam becomes our eyes. So if this free stays middle, our eyes would come to Mike and Sam and plays high-low basically on the Sam. If the free does what he wants, we're really just reading both free safety. So when the free safeties start pushing wide to the field, and you'll see some clips, actually, I'll point it out, of our quarterback doing a good job, and at times not so much, of losing this weak free safety. But we need to see both, because that tells us how much we can lead this too strong receiver in the middle of the field. At times, you know, mostly when you do this out of 4-1, this weak free safety might want to take away the post and wait for him. We need to be able to come back to the boundary on the backside if that's ever the case. So looking at both those, and that's all what I worry about, to be honest. If it's a cover 2, like I mentioned, yeah, this kind of a box, that general area with the 2 free safeties and the Mike and the Sam. But what I want is to see those 2 free safety progressed, and I'm going to throw this ball to too strong in cover 2. I mean, okay, and sorry, or the vertical if the free safety jumps it. Rarely I came to a check down versus cover 2 on this concept. Now, reverse, when we're a single free safety, I feel like 50% of the time we're potentially throwing a check down here, either to the back or one strong.
That's phenomenal, Coach. That's a great breakdown. I'm really looking forward to part 2 where we go into some film and further dissect this play. So appreciate you talking us through that, Coach.
Yeah, thanks to you guys.